Alastair, thanks for joining me today. I wonder if we might kick off with a quick introduction and some detail on your background.
Thanks for having me, Adam. I'm Alastair MacKay. I'm head of sales for Office Print Software at Ricoh Europe, responsible for the whole strategy and the approach to selling print software across the entire business in Europe. Been with Ricoh for almost a year and a half, but been in the print industry all my life. But yeah, good to be here talking to you today.
And so we're going to try and dive into the future of print management, some perspectives, and what you guys are seeing in terms of your customers. And so I wonder if we start there. What are customers telling you right now around the future of print and what they need?
Yeah, okay, no problem. So I suppose I should start by answering that Ricoh has 1.4 million customers globally. We're a huge business, 70,000 employees. So we have customers of all shapes and sizes, starting at global accounts, international, coming down to international accounts, then single country, large enterprise customers, mid-market, SMB, and we even have a huge partner channel. 1,200 partners representing about 5,000 salespeople just across Europe alone. So there are customers of all different shapes and sizes. So maybe I'll start with the enterprise customers. So our enterprise customers are asking us for a lot. So they expect security, a very broad feature set, scalability, even flexibility now. And so to kind of drill down into some of those areas a little bit more detail, we've got, rather than having separate solutions for mainframe printing, office printing, scanning management, device management, they're looking for one combined enterprise solution. So that's quite a challenging thing to deliver, but it's absolutely available. Complexity of pricing, the complexity around implementation of these solutions, managing them, supporting those servers that comes with it. Traditionally, it's just far too costly for both the customers and for us. So the industry is rapidly shifting in the enterprise space, shifting to a focus on reducing and optimizing the infrastructure with cloud printing as the way to do that. But our enterprise customers don't really expect to have as many devices in 3 years' time than they do today. They probably don't have as many devices they do now as they did 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So they're really looking to reduce those levels of commitment they offer in those contracts, and really looking to add more flexibility. So the print management software that they're buying can flex down as they perhaps reduce those fleet sizes, and that's something that we will be delivering with Cloud Print as a Service. But when you're talking about cloud and flexible subscriptions, you still need security for those enterprise customers, still absolutely paramount. And they've become even more shrewd than ever, applying more focus than ever on interrogating security with cloud services. And so there's a whole range of things that we need to deliver for enterprise customers. But if going down to the SMB channel, those smaller customers, they have very different set of challenges, and they're asking us for things like simplicity, modular services, competitive pricing. And so print management solutions for the SMB customer needs to be easy to deploy, needs to be easy to manage, simple for our salespeople to understand and our customers to understand as well. Every single server, gateway, agents or desktop client that needs to be deployed in an SMB customer needs to be implemented, it needs to be managed, it needs to be supported, and it needs to be updated. And that, when you've got thousands of small customers, that can really scale up to be a big problem if it isn't a simple solution. So pure cloud is really an increasingly popular choice for SMB customers. And with that, we can offer modular features, apps, and services as well. And if I want me to talk about the partner channel as well, it comes with a whole nother set of challenges as well, all similar to the SMB channel, because our partners range from very small with 5 employees, to large IT service providers with thousands of employees. Some of our partners are mono-brand, only selling Ricoh devices. Some are multi-brand, who sell a whole range of manufacturers' devices. Some don't have any technical resources at all. Some just have hardware engineers, photocopier engineers who dabble in software installs. But many are increasingly investing in technical resources. Many have large technical teams, and some have actually very big and very capable service desks. So really, there's no one perfect print management solution, they don't all ask for the same thing. So we do need to still offer a whole range of solutions and technical services to those partners. They don't always have the resources to become experts in 5 similar print management solutions, and so they commonly just want one solution to become a master in, one solution that covers everything, and that needs to be simple. It needs to be easy to deploy. It needs to be easy to support, and really easy to update. And of course, they always want competitive pricing so they can provide enough profit to really incentivize their salespeople. So yeah, very complex range of challenges and requests for all of the different channels of customers that we have.
So let's, if we may, take them one by one and dive into enterprise a little bit. I think you describe a really complex sales process with enterprise. The number of features you're describing in terms of the way they can get into mainframe print, the way they're challenging Ricoh to deliver services. To what extent do you feel that enterprises today are coming to Ricoh with a clear set of requirements? This is where we want to go. This is the reduction plan. Are they defining that, or are they asking you what's possible? How much is the conversation prescriptive versus consultative?
Yeah, interesting question. And I suppose the answer is that it varies massively. We have some customers who have been long-standing customers we've had for 20 years, that we've taken them on that journey from on-premise to putting them in the private cloud, and maybe even now taking them into public cloud deployments. And they can be very understanding, and they can be very collaborative in how we can work together in meeting their needs as best as we can with the solutions available. But these large enterprise customers also, they like to, a lot of them tend to keep the same solution for a long time, for many contract cycles. When you've got thousands of users, especially now with print perhaps not being as high a priority as other IT challenges, they just want as much consistency as possible. So we have a lot of customers coming to us saying, look, we just want to keep the solution that we've had for the last 10 years. And so if we either need to be able to support that solution that they're already using, or have a very good reason to convince them to change it. So and then the enterprise customers also really do pose a whole other set of challenges. So one example is that a customer came to us and they said, we want to move to the cloud. And I said, great. Well, we looked at their requirements, we worked with their IT team, and we defined what was the right cloud print solution to meet their needs. And it was only after quite a while it's when we kicked off the POC, actually the IT security team got involved, and they said, no, we won't allow this cloud service because it doesn't meet our policy. So actually, enterprise customers have such large and diverse IT teams and security teams. Actually, not all of them talk and collaborate, and so we don't always get the most prescriptive set of requirements.
I guess there's no one requirement for them, just like there's no one solution for you. They have a breadth of stakeholders. And so,
Yes.
So it is somewhat clear that they have a driver and they're trying to achieve presumably a cost saving around servers, or a cost saving around devices, or a reduction in management overhead. But they actually need Ricoh to help, and Ricoh sales teams to help guide them through the options, what's possible.
100%. And I think that's one of the biggest, well, it's one of the largest challenges we have, is that sometimes the answer, so nearly all customers now want to reduce costs. They want to reduce server or optimize their print infrastructure in order to reduce costs, reduce the admin burden. But actually, sometimes the answer is still an on-premise solution. Sometimes the answer is a private cloud solution. Sometimes the answer is a public cloud solution, but single tenant. Sometimes the answer is a multi-cloud solution, a public cloud solution, multi-tenant. And so really for our salespeople and our account managers to understand the difference between all these different types of technologies is really challenging, especially with such a rapidly changing industry and market.
It feels like print is increasingly becoming an infrastructure conversation, where actually account
100%.
managers who've historically been very attuned to what end users were doing, what the device capabilities were, and what Office applications were required, and now having to get into that back end of, I need to understand the infrastructure this whole thing runs on, right? I think when we saw Universal Print released from Microsoft a few years back, it was probably a real challenge to a lot of people to go, okay, so there's a real change in the industry now, and I really need to start to gen up on the cloud.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
You
Microsoft
mentioned,
Universal. Oh, sorry, go on.
go on. So Universal Print. Give me a few lines.
Oh, well, yeah. Actually, it's funny because that caused such a storm. You think, oh, Microsoft is providing universal print now, it's getting to the print marketscape. But actually, after a bit of a flutter of interest, actually, we don't see much happening with that. And I'm sure that will change. Microsoft will slowly adapt and tailor their service, but it's still quite a costly service that still requires a lot of bolt-ons that doesn't always enhance their value proposition quite yet. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
I,
interesting.
I One of the things I think we've seen around universal print is the pricing model is kind of a challenge. It's a bit of a challenge to the status quo, and it's sometimes difficult for customers or service providers to even really understand where the pricing is going to end up.
Mm.
But when you started talking about enterprise, you talked about the flexibility that they need in pricing, and I wonder if we might kind of go down that hole a little bit. So what
Mm.
kind of challenges are customers presenting around pricing flexibility, the requirements that they have, and what do you think the drivers and background to that stuff is?
Well, I think the background is that traditionally for enterprise customers, especially when you're talking about on-premise solutions, every customer is normally different, requires a different number of servers or different levels of integration, deployment, configuration. So yeah, every quote can be bespoke, it can be complex, and it's a lot of work, both for the suppliers and for the customers. So the the advent of cloud printing has really helped that because you can really standardize your pricing. You
Hmm.
can actually standardize the costs of how you deliver that because it's all delivered in a cloud server, a cloud
Yeah.
service. If there's no agents and no servers, great, you've just eliminated a huge part of the cost and the complexity when it comes to the commercials. So yeah, the and now we're starting to see it's quite an exciting year because we're seeing a huge growth in cloud print as a service. So we can now simplify how we go to market with cloud printing. So instead of quoting for everything separately and bespoke, we just have a rate card of menu options, cost per device per month. And that's that, and the customer just tells us what they want. We build that menu, and yeah, we can then deliver that as a flexible service. So
And that
and they can
more standardized subscription pricing, I guess, reflects customers saying, I don't really want you to build something bespoke where every single change is a change request. But customers are now saying they want more standardized offerings as well, or
yeah. So we do have quite a lot of customers who are running not just bespoke commercial contracts, but also custom versions of print solutions. And every single customized customer is an absolute headache for updating, maintaining, supporting that customer. So yeah, as print goes down the strategic priorities of IT leaders in our customers, which is probably fair to say,
yeah.
the more simple it needs to be, both commercially and technically. And that's 100% what we're seeing right now, cloud print and cloud print as a service, the subscription go-to-market model that goes alongside that.
And so for customers, they can probably start to get close to thinking about business outcomes, right? This
Mm.
is what print needs to deliver. Now, Ricoh, please deliver me that as a service with a rate card. So I'm paying a consistent monthly price.
Yeah, yeah. That's a massive win for us. If we can achieve that for a customer,
Mm.
that's what we're doing every day right now. But that's the big goal. But then it goes beyond. You talked about outcomes. So simplify the go-to-market, simplify the way we deploy it, but actually use all that data that the print solution is capturing to help drive process improvement, service improvement. If we can manage all the devices with a single pane of glass and use that data to see, right, who is printing lots of emails in color, how can we eliminate those bad printing behaviors, or who's scanning lots of documents into email, how can we actually engage them and see how we can make their lives better, because scanning is boring, as some customers have said. So if we can target those customers using that data and the analytics, then we can actually go to them and look at business process improvement opportunities, using document management, workflow automation.
I think that's right. I think having customers' data draw the conclusions for them, it kind of changes what used to be, when I got into the industry, a big discovery process sales cycle. Actually, that discovery process should be automated now. We should be able to present customers' data back to them and say, hey, this is you, this is what normal looks like. We could try to take you more in that direction, because here's where you're abnormal in your printing behaviors. Or even to allow the customer to say, no, there's a reason for that, and that's very specific to that geo, and that's why we're running it like that.
Yeah.
So let's go back then to SMB, because you talked about the deployment, the management, the simplicity that SMBs are looking for. Do you think SMBs have print requirements as such, or do you think SMBs are far more simplistic in their requirements? It's, hey, the printing's just got to work, and we want to touch it as little as possible.
Yeah, so they definitely have print requirements. So actually, SMB is probably one of our largest channels, and so they probably still have paper-based processes more than enterprise customers, and so printing's very important for them. But yeah, but it needs to be. But again, every customer is different. So going to them with a modular solution that can either deliver just printing or print and scan, or even full device management as part of a managed service, is but just paying for what you need is a really powerful part of the SMB offering.
When you think about SMB, what kind of numbers are we talking? Is it a handful of devices, or is there some threshold where Ricoh would think about SMB?
So SMB, so small market, starts at 1 to 200 users and up to 20 devices. Medium-sized customers we categorize as 200 users to 1,000 users, or 20 devices to 100 devices, print devices, that is, of course.
They're enormous businesses. When you actually think of the scale of people, we call them SMB, and we think of, or I certainly think of, like tiny little 2 or 3 devices. But actually, if you've got a couple of hundred users, you're a substantial business, and there's an awful lot of departments and process and things for them to think about.
There is, 100%. So, and I think it's a really interesting market, because again, we require a whole range of solutions to probably meet the needs of our SMB customers. We have some that are just pure cloud solutions that can be spun up new tenants, really easy to deploy. We have SMB customers with 100 devices that still want to have everything on premise. They want to keep it secure, and they want to have a server gateway managing all of that printing on premise. But then actually, we have an SMB solution that is pure cloud. There's no PC clients, there's no servers, there's no agents. Every time you print, it goes through the cloud. Really simple to deploy, really simple to use. And actually, we've seen customers of up to 200 devices wanting that solution, because they don't want to put any other clients on a PC, or they don't want to put any more service in place. And actually, that the provider doesn't want to have to support and update a load of clients and PC clients and servers. So again, there's no one perfect solution. There is actually, we need a whole range of things to offer our customers and meet their needs.
From a service provision point of view, presumably the increased influence of cloud in the industry is going to make Ricoh's life easier for servicing devices. You mentioned device management, but where do you see that stuff going?
Yeah, so that's a really exciting area for us this year, is really expanding. So we've got a big legacy in managing devices, print devices, and we've got a lot of tools for automatically configuring devices, for monitoring them, capturing all those service alerts, those toner alerts, and feeding that into our automated managed print services, updating firmware, checking compliances, security compliances settings, monitoring and updating certificates. So we have all of that in place in a on-premise way of delivering it. And actually, we're now moving a lot of that stuff into the cloud, and we have ways to do that. But we are going to be expanding that out massively to provide that in a really much more intuitive cloud way, so you can simply configure these devices, have them running through a cloud device management service without the need for servers. And actually, the long-term goal is to really bring in more devices. So what else can we manage rather than printers? We provide a whole range of smart lockers. We can be managing those. Zebra label printers we manage a huge number of label printers in logistics and retail organizations, and even IoT devices, PCs, applications. We don't have to stop at just managing devices. There's all kinds of things that Ricoh manages as part of our managed service offering, and having all of that in a single pane of glass to manage is a really powerful offering for our customers.
And so actually Ricoh will go a step deeper inside customers, right? Because managed print services, I guess as it was defined in the industry 5 or 10 years ago, that's changing substantially, where you can extend your scope and the customer can offboard more and more of those print headaches and just have you guys managing them.
Yeah. And that is one thing we are very good at. We have been diversifying more than some of our other competitors. So we're still, very strong market leader in print, but actually we do manage services for a whole range of things, not just print. So bringing all that in is part of our future strategy.
And so as I think about challenges, the place my head immediately goes to is, you mentioned the challenge for the sales team of how do they start to understand these things top to bottom, really, really broad range of services, and presumably even for the design consultants as well, there's some challenge. How do you see that as an industry challenge? The evolution of print as an industry, the evolution, frankly, of the sales teams and the marketing teams to need to find and understand these features, to need to deliver this stuff in a way that customers can quickly understand and consume. How do you see that developing?
So I'll start by our challenges first of all in Ricoh. So our account managers, they need to understand and deliver a huge range of services. So manage print, absolutely, but managing software, document management, workspace services, lockers, IT services, cybersecurity. There's a lot they need to understand. So again, that comes back to making print as simple as possible, so they don't have to learn 5 different solutions and why they're all different and what they mean to a customer. But also, our customer contracts can also, sometimes focus purely on managed print, but actually regularly our customer contracts contain many of these other services. So another reason why print management needs to be simple, flexible, scalable, easy to manage. And for our salespeople, we talked about cloud print as a service and those flexible subscription options that our customers are asking for. Well, traditionally in a print solution, it's normally been sold as, or traditionally it's been sold as a license, perpetual license with maintenance and service, and all of that can be thrown into a lease along with the hardware, and all of that revenue recognized up front and also paid to a salesperson very easily. But as we shift into cloud services and flexible subscriptions, the challenge is what impact will that have on how we charge our customers and how we pay our salespeople as well? How do we keep our salespeople incentivized in those kind of models? And we're going through that transition now. Some of Rockco's have already done it, and some are still on that journey. But and in some cases it's easy when it's a focused strategic solution, but when it's not a strategic solution, then it people don't want to make that effort. So so that's one of the big challenge we have with our salespeople. I think the other challenge for our salespeople and our partners as well is that it's a competitive market out there. There's a lot of print management solutions available, and some of our customers have their favorites, some of our salespeople have their favorites. But some of these solutions are very strong, very well-known brands in the market. And actually, as Ricoh has a few different solutions, some that we developed in-house and have been doing for a long time. Some are fairly new, some are in partnership with people like Wisoft. And actually, when you've got a new solution and a new brand, that comes with a big challenge that for both sales and marketing to really help build that brand, build the knowledge of this solution. How does it differ from all these other solutions that people have known for years? How do we build the awareness and the confidence in for our people to, and our, not just sales, but our technical people as well? How do we build their confidence that they can install it, they can configure it, manage it, support it? And that's the big effort, and that's the message we our salespeople, our marketing people need to take away. That it's going to take more work and more effort to support a new solution. and especially in an already crowded market.
I think it's quite an exciting time, though. I've got to say, it's the challenges that you're presenting are almost insurmountable 5 years ago to go on that journey, because the industry was somewhat settled into its way of doing things. And I think in the last 5 years, and the acceleration of a lot of these cloud services, and frankly, the changes in customer requirements that have accelerated rapidly, suddenly I think the sales and marketing teams are looking up and going, there's opportunities to talk about something new in print, which there hasn't been for a long time. And it's quite an exciting space, I think. It makes it worth that journey. And I'm really excited about the shifting from a perpetual license to a subscription license. I think will put far more focus on us as an industry to deliver customer success on a kind of ongoing basis. So it's a 1 year subscription, and actually we've got to make sure we've got to raise the service levels as an industry. It's kind of an exciting time for me.
100% agree. I find it a fascinating time. We're still talking about printing at the end of the day, and it's not. Yes, some people might not see that as very exciting, but actually, you're right. When was it 2019? We had defense customers saying everything has to be on premise, servers only, nothing in the cloud. Come April 2020. That same defense customer saying, we want a cloud print solution. We need to get rid of our servers. We need to support our distributed workforce because a lot of them are working from home. So the shift to cloud is massively accelerated. But that a lot of the cloud solutions still aren't delivering the same set of features that those traditional on-premise solutions delivered, and customers expect the same features and the same experience. And sometimes there's compromises to be made. But I think you said it earlier that a really interesting part is how we implement those solutions, because every cloud solution seems to be a little bit different in how it is deployed, how it keeps printing on premise. Whether it's agents, whether it's gateways, whether it's desktop clients, or how do you store pull printing jobs in a secure way for lots of users, still in one place, but perhaps is that in the customer's environment or is that in the cloud? And it is quite exciting because there's a real opportunity to differentiate and be quite innovative in how we can meet our customers' needs with some of these new cloud print solutions. So
and I think it's a really interesting time for the customer to be saying, which of these features did I need? I think probably there's been inside the industry, it's been the RFP from 5 years ago. We take it out of the desk, we dust it off, and we send it back out. And actually for the customer to say, let's really challenge our feature needs here, because what's going to be most important to us? Is it cloud and flexibility, or is it feature set of the product? And so we're in a kind of interesting transition where customers are really asking for everything, right?
We are. But you're right. But then when you take a broader view across Europe, 25 different opcos across Europe, and some of them are massively all over cloud, where some of them won't even touch it, whether that's down to legislation or whether it's down to culture or insecurities about cloud, or just even poor internet connections in some of the developing markets. So we still need a whole range of on-premise solutions. We still need those private cloud solutions, but we also need those public cloud solutions. So it's a huge range that we still need to deliver our customers across the whole globe. As some of them slowly come on this journey, and some of them more rapidly go on the journey.
So take me into where the product sets need to expand, where the industry needs to take cloud printing or print management for customers. What do you think the future is, and what's the challenge?
Yeah, so for me, the way I see it, I think the future comes down to moving print to a low-touch service model, and re-architecting print to suit the future of work as well. I think there's a lot more that can be done to support the needs of those whatever you want to call it, the remote workers, the hybrid workers, the flexible workers, and just keeping print relevant. Developing the underlying technology to support all of those different environments as well. And really for us, it's about simplifying the go-to-market with cloud print as a service, with that flexible subscription approach. So we can
And so you're kind of describing customers being able to jump on and jump off as a service, right? If it's not working for them or they want to shut an office down,
Mm.
that's where they're going to end up with a full flexibility.
So that's what the customers want. They
Mhm.
want that full, flexible jump on, jump off service. Whether the suppliers will be able to meet that level of risk is another question. So yeah, it's finding somewhere in the middle. is
I think
probably
it's
going to be the answer.
inevitable that suppliers will rise to meet the demands of customers, right? And even if it's not the big industry players, there's going to be some upstart who wants to do it. And so I think everybody's going to get pushed by the customer requirement.
Yeah. When as you're right, someone will do it, and others will be forced to follow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they might lose their customers. Yeah. So flexible subscriptions is another part of the future. Removing those silos and really bringing print alongside all of those other devices and services to offer an all-encompassing managed service through a single pane of glass. Another big part of the future. Supporting the drive to digital transformation, helping our customers remove those bad printing behaviors, helping them identify where they can optimize their service and their processes, and really keeping that focus on security as we all make that journey, that transition. Giving our customers choice in how to host the cloud solution, giving them choice in where it's hosted. Some of our competitors still only offer hosting in Australia, some just in the US, where Wisoft gives us the opportunity to offer our customers hosting wherever they want, well, in lots of different places.
Yeah.
But also supporting zero trust, protecting access to devices, data. That's going to be a big part of that transition. But then multi-vendor is also a big subject that comes up when it comes to printing. I think a lot of the suppliers would probably want to offer a solution that only works on their devices and no one else's, because it locks the customer into that ecosystem. But actually, a lot of, especially in enterprise, we have to come in and take over a whole range of devices as part of our managed services. So multi-vendor is print management is a big part of what we need to offer. But it was interesting because in March 2023, just gone, Co-Circa released a really interesting stat. I don't know if you've seen it, but it said, so those operating a mixed rather than single vendor fleet are most likely to change their MPS provider. So 40% of customers saying they definitely plan to change when they have a mixed estate, and 24% say they'll potentially change. So compare that where in a single fleet environment, single vendor environment, only 17% plan a definite change in their provider. So it's really interesting. And so actually, we can't get away from it. And MPS providers do need to deploy multi-vendor fleets or manage multi-vendor fleets. So third-party print management solutions that offer that capability is important, but keeping that user experience standardized across the whole range of the hardware is a big area. But the last point I'll make on this is that we want to offer that multi-vendor capability, but our goal is to provide a better experience on the Ricoh devices than our competitors' devices whilst doing so.
I think that's the right goal for most of the vendors, right? So can we make it better on our devices and advantage the customer? But I also think the longer term relationship and the customer success relationship really will enable you to demonstrate that to a customer on an ongoing basis. Like, hey, here are these devices and we manage them for you. But actually this innovation over here, we need to drive a different device profile.
Yeah.
It's an interesting future for sure.
It is.
And then I wonder if I can ask you for a few reflections on the tagline that Wisoft is looking at, which is no print management. So how do you reflect on no print management and what that means for customers and the industry?
The way I see no print management is about delivering print management as a service. So no software, nothing on premise, devices talking to a cloud service that securely, effortlessly, and that can be onboarded, deployed really quickly, really easily, supported really quickly, really easily. And so, just printing, just working via a cloud service without all the hassle that we used to have with on-premise
For sure.
on-premise print management software.
Great. Alastair, thank you. That was really interesting for me. That was, yeah, plenty of insights and lots
Thank
more
you.
stuff. Honestly, I could dig into lots of other areas, but I hesitate to go too far.
Do you see it the same way? No print
Yeah,
management?
honestly, I think a lot of what we do is spending time with the partners and the vendors, and it's interesting that the piece that I expect the vendors to miss is the multi-vendor piece, because I think it's very easy to get locked into a Ricoh-centric view of the world or a Konica Minolta-centric view of the world, and kind of forget that actually there's a huge opportunity for you guys in becoming far more IT service based. And so you don't care if it's a Dell laptop or a Lenovo laptop. I'm just managing it, right? And so for you guys to do the same and say, hey, maybe there's some advantages here and there, but actually we can pick up and take over anything for you and run its course, Mr. Customer.
Yeah, you're right. It's a great analogy because print devices are becoming a commodity, much like laptops. So it's the service that you provide is the most important bit.
Exactly. And I think it's exciting for me that vendors are putting challenges on us as software companies to bring innovation and to bring innovation faster. It's not just, we're not settling for, hey, there's a cloud thing and we can deal with most environments. It's like, yeah, it's a cloud thing, but actually the customers are taking these security angles, and can you meet that? And how would we cater for this? And by the way, China and the whole thing's like, wow, okay. Yeah. So it's an exciting time, I think, for the print industry. And really, you're right. It's not high on customers' agenda in terms of CIO priorities, but getting it off the list altogether, I think, is somewhat on their agenda. Like, we don't want to talk about it again. We want to get it off the list. So can you take everything? And really, I think that's the future for the industry.
It is. And having partners like you guys is really helpful for us as we go on that journey too.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much.